Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Night Phase, bringing you my Daredevil Season 3 review. I'm so excited to finally talk about this show. I binge watched the hell out of it this weekend, even rewatched some episodes to give me an overall refresher. I'm going to give you my overall impression first and my rating. And then after the 3-minute mark, I'm going to dive into spoilers. So yeah, guys, without spoiling anything, this was the best episode of Daredevil that we've got. It was much stronger, heavily focused story that just blew me away, exceeded my expectations. Season two, I really liked the Punisher, Frank Castle, Daredevil story arc, but I felt like it just got too overcrowded, like with Elektra and the Hand, and it did meander some episodes. But I didn't feel that way at all with this season. I just love the driving force of this season was the conflict between Daredevil internally, trying to overcome what happened to him from the Defenders, coming off that and battling internally with his faith, with not wanting to be Matt Murdock, with embracing Daredevil, full time, being a full time vigilante, and then also dealing with the fact that Wilson Fisk, is not in jail anymore. He's not in prison anymore, and that just made for stellar 13 episodes going in. I loved it. It was so good. Vincent D'Onofrio, Charlie Cox just gave out flat out great performances. Even Foggy and Karen, they weren't like annoying or anything. They were actually really good. Just well written dialogue, characters, and the action. There wasn't as much action as the previous seasons, but they were kind of sprinkled throughout. But man, when the action scenes hit, they hit hard. And I think the action sequences here are the best we've seen in Daredevil, honestly. And a lot of that has to do with the emotional weight that it brought with the characters. Yeah, I loved it. This season of Daredevil gets a 10 out of 10. It's so good. Watch it, binge it. It never dragged for me. I was always in it. And of course, I love the inclusion of Dex as a foil for Daredevil. So good. It's just, they hit it, guys. They hit a home run. Daredevil season 3, and I hope to God Netflix does not cancel this show because they already canceled Luke Cage and Iron Fist. So yeah, guys, 10 out of 10. Go see Daredevil season 3 as soon as possible. It's so damn good. All right, let's dive into spoilers. I'm gonna try to go chronological order, episode by episode, starting with episode 1, Resurrection. So, if you've seen Defender season 1, you know what happens at the end. Matt gets buried under rubble, of that building that collapsed on him with Elektra. She's completely gone at this point. Maybe she is dead, but she never shows up in the season. She's just disappeared at this point. And I love that visual shot of him falling in the water. And you see the building falling, through the reflection of the water on fire. I love that. He washes up on shore. I think like 6 months, a few months have passed since the events of the Defenders. And then we get Matt being nursed to health by Sister Maggie. She's a new character. She's a nun of the Catholic Church under the father, Pastor, what's his name? Give me a minute. Pastor Paul Lantham, I believe. So, and they have some history there, and I love their philosophical conversations about faith, about God, even reference Job at one point. And Matt's just, he's at that point where he just doesn't want to hear about the word of God anymore. He has no faith in him. He just wants to embrace the devil. That's it. That's all he wants at this point. In real life, people do go through that crisis of faith where something happens to them and, they just don't turn to God anymore for answers. They're just sick of it. And the mere reference of God or the Bible or religion just angers them or annoys them. And that's how Matt feels with the nun. And I love how, she's kind of like a hard ass. She just tells him how it is. And she's like, yeah, you're just indulging in self pity, Matt, Matthew. Yeah, so I like their back and forth. She's a great addition to the cast. We catch up with all the characters like Foggy and Karen, and then Fisk is putting a plan into motion. He wants to cut a deal. We don't know what this means, and then we later find out, of course. With the FBI, we get introduced to Agent Nadim from the FBI, and at first I was not feeling his character. I was not invested. I was like, great, this is gonna be filler. His character isn't gonna add any relevance to the overall story arc. He's just gonna be a shoehorned character like the FBI agent lady from The Punisher season 1. Yeah, I felt like she was so unnecessary. Her character was just meh. That's kind of how I thought Nadine's character was gonna go, but no, his story arc was very important, and I ended up caring about him so much. So kudos to the writers. Just a very well thought out, well written character, Agent Nadim. Yeah, so we get introduced to him. He has some backstory about his sister. She's battling cancer. He had all these debts, and he's not getting the promotion, the raise that he feels he deserves. And I think we've all been there. So yeah, then we get at the end of this episode, the first episode with Matt, you know, fighting those thugs, even though he's trying to overcome his injuries, and something happened to his ear where he hears a lot of ringing. So he has like at one point he takes that nose like cuppy thing that you would buy at the pharmacy if you had nasal congestion, and you know how you just pour it and then all that goop, all that crap comes out the other end of your nostril. Well, yeah, that he uses that and like a bunch of blood shoots out, and I guess it made him feel better, which that was crazy. And then he fights this group of thugs, and at one point, he's asking the thug to kill him with the pipe. He's just like, "Do it, kill me!" Damn. I just really felt for Matt's character. Kudos to Charlie Cox. His acting is just so good. It was very devastating to see him hit rock bottom like that, you know, because he feels like he has no purpose. Like he lost everybody, and he's just like done at that point. Well, I'm glad they didn't kill him. Of course, they're not gonna kill him. It's episode 1, you know. And we get to episode 2, titled "Please," and this is where it gets pretty nuts. It starts picking up. Um, Matt keeps training. He ended up saving this one couple last episode, and then the Albanians are being targeted because that's Wilson Fisk's deal. He's snitching on them. So I love the end sequence where they attack his motorcade, his convoy. It was nuts. Like they flip his SUV over and they just start shooting the shit out of the FBI. There's a shootout that ensues. Then we get to meet Agent Poindexter, who just comes out of nowhere, starts taking headshots like John Wick style. I was like, what the hell? And he starts throwing knives at people. And Fisk is watching this like, holy crap, who is this guy? Like, who is he? He catches Fisk's attention right away. Rightfully so. I mean, I was completely blown away too by his skills. And we all know he's going to be Bullseye. Yeah, so that was a great introduction to Poindexter's character. And I think he ended up getting shanked by an inmate, which plays on later on in the episode. Yeah, so now he's I was gonna say house arrest, but it's more like penthouse arrest with the FBI, which brings us to episode 3, No Good Deed, where Matt, Karen, Foggy, all of New York find out that Wilson Fisk is out of prison. He's being held up in some fancy ass suite, and it's kind of messed up. Like like this cop killer, this horrible criminal is getting the royal treatment. I'm like, shit, what the hell, um, yeah, and then also, we get this thing with Dex where he tries to befriend this girl named Julie. Maybe I'm jumping ahead. I don't know if it was this episode, but that doesn't go right. Maybe I am. I don't know. Oh no. Sorry guys. I'm trying to like process everything. We get Matt meeting with Foggy at the bar, which is great. because Karen doesn't want to give up on the fact that Matt is probably dead and Foggy's ready to move on. She's even paying for his bills, like in his apartment. What a great friend, you know? And yeah, he just meets Foggy at the bar, and he just tells him like, "Listen, I'm dead to you. Like, I'm not your buddy anymore. I didn't come back as Matt Murdock. Came back as the devil of Hell's Kitchen. So stay awake. And by the way, I'm just gonna borrow your wallet." Well, what are friends for? So he takes his wallet. Uh, episode 4. Episode 4 is the episode, guys. From here on out, episode 4 all the way to 13 just had me so hooked. Like, never a dull moment from here on out. Like, episodes 1 through 3, bit of a slow burn. It was never boring. I was never, like, bored or anything, but, you know, it took its time to bring us back into the Daredevil world and try to build these characters back up and see where they're all at. And, which I appreciated, but once episode 4 hits, woo! This is when Matt takes a trip to the prison and all hell breaks loose. I love how it starts. Like, he goes into the clinic there, and that nurse tries to stab him with the syringe. Fisk is watching him. Sorry, guys. Fisk is watching him in camera, and he's like, "Mr. Murdoch, you have a particular set of skills." You know, like, he's just so impressed because he's watching him. He doesn't have the black mask, the cowl, and I'm glad, by the way, they brought back that classic black Daredevil look. And I know some people will complain about that, like, "Oh, it's not right. You're supposed to have the red costume." Blah, blah, blah. Like, hello, they're borrowing elements from Born Again, and I just feel like it's great, a callback to season 1, to have Matt go back to his roots and, you know, wear the black cowl like the way he started, the black mask, which I honestly I like that look better. That's just me. You know, maybe because it's easy to pull off. I mean, I could probably do it right now, just like, you know. So, anyway, that prison fight sequence was glorious. It was so well done. That one take tracking shot, they following him through the chaos. Like, you got inmates shanking the hell out of prison guards, like Breaking Bad style. I'm like, what the hell? And I love how it paused the action for him to talk to like the Albanian leader guy. That was a great conversation between those two. And then he just keeps moving forward. He sends one of his henchmen to help lead Matt out of there. He's just going through these doors, going through every cell block, just trying to get the hell out of there. And I'm just gripping. I'm like white knuckling the whole time. Like, fuck, is he going to make it out? Oh! It was so intense. He makes it out, and I love the way they ended the episode where he wakes up in the taxi cab, and it's not the same cab driver. It's one of Fisk. Man, he just jumps out of the taxi, and his car goes off, you know, the ravine and into the ocean. What a great way to end the episode. Fantastic. I love the way it was shot. So good. So good. So kudos to, you know, the entire staff who's behind Daredevil Season 3. I feel like the action sequences, they really outdid themselves yet again. So episode 5, The Perfect Game, we dive into Poindexter's backstory. And one little nitpick I noticed is like Matt has these moments where he's like being antagonized by an imaginary Wilson Fisk or just a character like his father at one point. And I don't think that was like kind of necessary. Again, it's just a little nitpick. Because I don't know anyone that just imagines someone just talking shit to them behind their back, like, "You will fail. You will never break into this hotel room. You're gonna have to grab his gun and kill him." Yeah, but still, again, little nitpick. Yeah. Anyway, Poindexter. This was effective though. The way it was utilized here, were visually the aesthetic, where Fisk is in the background watching these flashbacks play out of Poindexter's conversations he had with his therapist, his upbringing, what makes him tick. I thought that was very well done, just from an artistic point of view. I love that. So it was well utilized here, because he's digging into his past. He's targeting Poindexter, you know, to get in his head, because that's what Wilson Fisk does, man. That's what Kingpin does. He's just a master manipulator. He likes getting people to do his own bidding. And he kind of has to anyway because he's in penthouse arrest. So there's so much he can do, like physically. And yeah, backstory, he killed his like what baseball coach just because he wouldn't put him on the team. So he like ricochets that baseball and kills him. I'm just like, what the hell? And then we meet his therapist, and they have some great conversations like back and forth. And she notices he lacks empathy when she asks him like, how'd you feel about that? And he's just like, oh, whatever, I was just mad he didn't put me on a team. She's like, okay, lacks empathy, psychopathic tendencies, check. All the makings of a potential serial killer, just psychopath. Yeah. And then that scene where it jumps forward and he's older now, and the therapist is sick. She has one of those oxygen tanks, right next to her. So, yeah, like, it was a crazy scene because she's talking to him and she tells him, like, you're going to have to move on at one point because she's eventually going to die. And Dex just gets in her face. He's like, I want to kill you. You understand? I want to kill you. And she's like, well, why do you want to kill me? He's like, I want to kill you for dying. That's why. You're not supposed to die on me. So for that, I want to kill you. I was like, what the hell? Who says that, But I like that he kept the tapes and he kind of listens to it, Dex, to, kind of like, it's like therapeutic to him. He has to listen to those tapes to remind himself not to go down that dark path, to remind himself to be normal, not to give into those crazy, rage tendencies, and it keeps him in check. So yeah. And then we get to episode 6 where Kingpin finally gets to Dex. He had this thing where he was like stalking this girl from his past job where he was like this suicide hotline operator. And she's willing to give him a chance, but man, Fisk is such a monster. Yeah, he basically sent these like cleaner guys in her apartment. She goes in, she's like, what do you guys do here? Yeah. Just the way they killed her, it was like so quick, you blink and you miss it. And they just wrapped her up and then went to lunch break, and I'm just like, what the hell? Holy crap, like Fisk is no joke, And then when he calls him, after he has that like breakdown, he has a nervous breakdown, mental breakdown after being a scapegoat for the FBI. They look into the investigation of the shooting, and I don't know, it's messed up. They suspend him, and just Fisk just takes advantage of Dex and utilizes him as his own weapon. And we get to one of the best fight sequences. We get Copycat Daredevil versus Daredevil. I was gonna say in the Daily Bugle, but this is where Karen Page works, the newspaper editor office. Great scene. I love the way it was shot. It was like dark and grim, and just like the color scheme. I love when he catches the baton and he saves Foggy right there, and they just come face to face. He's like, "Who are you?" I'm Daredevil. Woo! It was so badass. I mean, Matt is he's such a good brawler. He's a great fighter, close range combat, but then you got Dexter with that pinpoint accuracy. So he got the long range game down. He got the advantage. He ends up beating him. I mean, he throws pencils, pens, computer monitors, staplers, you name it. He throws everything, even scissors at him. Fucking crazy. And then he kills the witness, the guy that shanked Fisk. Shoots him in the head. He's like, hello, Karen. I love how subtle he was. Kudos to the actor, man. What's the actor's name? Wilson Bethel. He did such a fantastic job as Dex, aka Bullseye. Yeah, great scene. And then Nadeem, runs into him. And he's like, "Yo, Daredevil did this." And Nadeem irritated me at certain episodes because you got like Foggy and Paige trying to reason with Nadeem, like, stop investigating us and Matt, investigate Wilson because he's freaking using you guys, which turns out to be true. So he should have listened. And then we get to the episode 7 aftermath where Foggy is distraught. So the only way he can cope with almost being killed is to have makeup sex with his hot girlfriend. So bravo to you, buddy. I don't know why, but that's the main thing I remember. That's the main plot point I remember of episode 7. I know a lot more happened in that episode, but Yeah, that happened. I'm sure there's more that happened. I'll probably go back to it. Then episode 8, upstairs downstairs. This is where Matt convinces Agent Nadim to kind of work with him. They break into Dex's apartment, and I love that sequence when they find the tapes and Daredevil's like, I smell the latex of the suit. It was here, and Dex comes back to his apartment. He knows somebody broke in, and he only has a sniper scope and a handgun, and he's able to shoot them from such distance. He's like ricocheting bullets across the building. It's fucking crazy. Dex is just so good at that. And then we get a brilliant scene with Karen and Kingpin, because she gets through herself like, okay, the only way we could get him back in prison is if we get him to break the law. So she was going there to antagonize and provoke him. Fantastic acting by Deborah Ann Wall and Vincent D'Onofrio. You can just feel the tension in the air when they're talking about his mother, and then he's talking to her about Matt, and then she flips the dime on him, sorry, and she mentions Wesley. She's like, yeah, I shot him 50 Cent style, like 97 times until the clip ran out. And Wilson loses it. He's like, ah! Like, he was just, oh my God. He was just about to Hulk smash the shit out of Karen. And good thing Foggy came in there. And I love the story arc with Foggy, by the way. Him trying to be district attorney, trying to go up against Tower Blake. And then that gets short lived, unfortunately, because you find out that Fisk had his hands on everybody, even his family establishment, the restaurant. His brother took out a loan from like Redline Bank or something, and now he's being blackmailed. It sucks, because I would have loved to see Foggy Nelson as district attorney. I think he would have been an awesome DA. It would have been cool to see that, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. But yeah, the episode 9. Well, the end of episode 8, we find out Sister Maggie, the nun, is Matt Murdock's mother. That was such a twist. I didn't see coming because I didn't read the comics, so I didn't know. I know they referenced that in the comics; it's in there, but I had no idea. So I was like completely shocked, like what? And the way it happened, it was so subtle. I love that, where she's praying. She mentions Matt's father, like, please God, watch over our son. Oh man, and Matt heard that from downstairs. I'm like, hello, he has supersonic hearing, Sister Maggie. Of course he's gonna hear you. Um, then episode 9, I love how very well suited the name Revelations of this episode. We opened up with Agent Nadim coming forth to his boss, the FBI lady. What's her name? Tammy Hatley. He's giving her all this information that he obtained. Like, he thinks Dex is the Daredevil copycat. He thinks Kingpin is manipulating the FBI. All this. And there's another FBI guy there present. When she says, turn in over your gun, you're suspended, whatever. He slides his gun over, and then out of nowhere, she shoots that guy in front of him, frames him. And I love that the shock in Nadim's face when she goes, I'm not your boss anymore. Wilson Fisk is your boss now. And he's just like, oh, fuck. Yo, I felt for Nadim. This is where I really started to care about his character and started worrying about him. So kudos to the writing again. Because you just realize, like, he's screwed. He's way in over his head now. He's in it. Wilson Fisk has been watching everybody. It's crazy. All this time, the FBI thought, hey, he's just in penthouse arrest, not doing nothing. Nope. He has like this secret lair in his room. He goes down and he has all these computer monitor screens and he's watching everybody. Constantly watching. He even has like fucking Barbara Gordon from Batman in the corner, keeping him up to date with everybody. That was a crazy twist. At the end of the episode, I love the meeting with Wilson Fisk and like the crime bosses, and we got the Italian lady, I believe, from Luke Cage. She came back. I noticed it was her. And basically, he's extorting them, basically saying like 20%, and I will give him 20% of your business profits, and I will ensure protection from the FBI and all this. And one of the guys was like, "Yeah, man," and then he gets bullseyed with the baton by Poindexter. That was a great scene. Fisk is the man. I mean, he's just a villain that is so fascinating, man. just a mastermind, grand mastermind, master manipulator. Yeah, that was crazy. And I like that scene where Nadeem, he goes in the FBI office. He sees in the conference room all these FBI agents who are being extorted, blackmailed by Fisk, and they have to work for him. It was crazy. That was such a crazy twist. Like, oh my goodness. And then we get to episode 10, Karen. This is where I got a little worried because it was very Karen centric. They, delve into her backstory. I don't think it was really needed because Karen is not one of my favorite characters, but nonetheless, great acting by Deborah Ann Wall. I mean, she had like a shitty boyfriend. She, um, felt responsible for her brother's death. I mean, it was kind of her fault, but and her father like disowns her. But the last 15 minutes of the episode made up for the entirety because we get that epic church fight sequence, which was way better than what we got in the Daredevil movie. Way better, 10 times better. And then unfortunately, you got the pastor, Father Paul Lantham. He gets killed, unfortunately. Yeah, he gets killed. He sacrifices himself for Karen, and it's crazy. Dex just using the collection plate at one point, throwing candles, anything, turning everything to projectiles, like just throwing it at Daredevil. It was crazy. So that was a great fight sequence, and I love that last shot at the end when Karen is cradling Matt, and I think that's a callback to the Born Again comic book. So yeah, great way to end that episode. Episode 11, things keep moving at such a great brisk pace. It's called Reunion, and Dex, Nadeem, they're trying their best to hunt down Karen and Daredevil. And good thing the other NYPD guy, officer came. I forgot his name. What was his name? He's been in previous seasons. I forget his name. Mahoney? Yeah, it was Mahoney. Yeah. He takes him in, luckily, and Nadeem has to hurry back to his house because he knows he done effed up. And Fisk sends a bunch of hitmen. It was a great shootout, intense, in his house. Matt saves his ass. Then Matt reveals who he is. I was like, what the hell? He said, we're working together now. Let's go. Now we get to the penultimate episode. And it's so tragic because at this point I'm so invested in Nadeem's character. So what ended up happening to him where Dex shoots him in the head. He kills him at the end of this episode because he felt like he had no other option. In order to protect his family, he had to die, And that was so sad because throughout the whole episode, it was like that movie 16 Blocks where Matt is trying to get him to the courthouse alive. And I like that sequence where all the thugs, a hitman are coming out of nowhere trying to kill him. And Nadeem and Matt have to fight their way through the city streets to get to the courthouse. So just so he can give his testimony. And it backfires because, man, Fisk has his hand way in the cookie jar. All the jurors have been blackmailed. It's crazy. So at that point, Nadeem was like, fuck it, But I love the fact that Nadeem didn't die in vain. He made that final video, and it turned out useful. Then we wrap this amazing, fantastic season up with episode 13. I loved it. Oh, my goodness. We get what we wanted. Also, Vanessa comes back, by the way. I love that the actress reprises her role. She's so good as Mariana Fisk, And at first she's a little distant, but then what she really wants is to be involved in Kingpin's crimes. And at first he's a little hesitant, but he allows her. And hey, that's a ride or die chick, if you ask me. Yeah, I love their chemistry, by the way. The actress Ayelet Zur, she's really good. Beautiful, by the way, too, man. Fisk, one lucky dude. Yeah, and she's the one that says, hey, maybe you should kill Agent Nadeem. Like, why keep him alive? I love that scene. And Fisk is like, you are the love of my life for a reason. He just gives her that look. Like, yeah, that's my woman, Yeah, so unfortunately, Nadeem gets killed by Bullseye. Man, such a great scene, powerfully acted by the two. Um, yeah, and the last episode we finally get what this entire season was building up: Daredevil versus Kingpin versus Bullseye, and I love the lead up to that. With Matt arguing with Foggy, the previous episode saying like, "We did your way. We tried to take down the good, honest route. Did not work. So now we're gonna do it my way." And he's on a mission to kill Fisk. And at this point, I'm sorry, but it's like I'm kind of with Matt in a way. I don't want him to kind of step across that line because I don't like Paige said, I don't think he will be able to live with himself. And Foggy also says the same thing because of his Catholic beliefs. He's just going to be always struggling with that conflict. Like, oh my God, I just killed somebody. But at the same time, it's like you have no other option because Fisk is just that powerful. He has his reach in everything. The justice system has failed. Like they tried everything in the book. So I love the lead up to that. And then when Matt tells Dex, he reveals to him that Kingpin killed the girl that he liked. And the way he finds her body all frozen, it was so messed up. And then we get the sequence. It was so good. Like he gets the Daredevil costume, Dex. He has his dead uh would be girlfriend that Kingpin killed in the front seat. Like what the hell? He just props her up there. He's lost it at this point, and he's gonna crash their wedding. He's gonna kill him. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, what's gonna happen? And he kind of uses him like as a battering ram because he's just taking out all of Fisk's men while the real Daredevil, Matt, is hot on his trail. And, they get married. Fisk and Vanessa get married. They had that beautiful, lovely dance. Then everyone's phones start going off because they leaked the Agent Nadim video that he left for Karen and Foggy to find for his wife as well. And I love that. I love that. That's how they nailed him. So, yeah. And then we get the best fight, yo. Oh my God. It was so emotionally powerful when Daredevil, we get that shot of Daredevil in the hallway, just staring, burning holes through Fisk, and just the rage that consumes them. And they both scream, like, ah! Like, I love that. They charge at each other and just start going at it. And then Bullseye's thrown in the mix. And he's trying to kill Vanessa. This is fucking crazy. Oh, it was so intense. It was so good. Fisk ends up breaking, um, Dex's back, breaks his back. Then it's one-on-one, Daredevil versus Kingpin. Matt gets the upper hand because Muay ropes for the win, y'all. He starts doing these crazy combinations, and I love the symbolism and the metaphor of that painting in the back, getting blood all over it because it's something Fisk would reflect on when he would reflect on that painting as being peaceful, being clean, and now it's all dirty with blood, riddled with blood. It's gone to shit, just like everything else has. And man, he just turns him into a bloody mess. And at one point, I thought Matt was literally gonna kill Fisk because he had his like hands over his head, and I thought he was gonna snap his neck. And Vanessa pleads like, stop. And Fisk actually wanted Daredevil to kill him so he could just step over that line. Very reminiscent of like Joker and Batman, where Joker was like, "Come on, hit me!" He wanted Batman to kill him, and that's what Fisk wanted. He wanted Matt to ruin and destroy his moral code. And I'm glad Matt at the end didn't succumb to that. Instead making a deal with Fisk that if he don't leave Karen and Foggy alone or he escapes prison, whatever, then he will pin everything to Vanessa. It's such a great moment. I love that moment where he just yells at him, "I beat you!" Like, fantastic acting by Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio. You could just feel the hatred between these two. Oh, it was so satisfying. I loved it. It brought everything to a head. It was so glorifying and satisfying. Perfect way to end this season. Key and Pin is brought down. Matt didn't cross the line. And yeah, everything seems good. And if this turns out to be the final season of Daredevil, at least it ends on such a satisfying conclusion. In my opinion, it does. But it leaves it open enough because of the bullseye scene we get at the end, where his eyes light up and you see like it has that target symbol in his eyes and his back is being operated. And that's such a comic book reference. So I love that. So we're not done with Poindexter yet. I'm glad they didn't kill him off. I'm glad they didn't kill Kingpin or Vanessa off because I thought at one point Vanessa was going to get killed by Bullseye out of nowhere, but I'm glad they didn't. So potentially, if they make season 4, I can see where Kingpin is behind bars, but Vanessa, maybe she's taking over, the crime organization where Kingpin left off. Who knows? So it's open ended enough, and I love it. This was a fantastic season. 10 out of 10. I loved it. Great performances, great writing, fantastic action sequences, great character build up. It was so good. It was so good. The best season of Daredevil. Yeah. So yeah, guys, that's my review recap of Daredevil season 3. I thought it was absolutely excellent. One of the best seasons of television that I've seen, and I just hope Netflix doesn't screw up and end up canceling the show because it's seriously the best one. They already canceled Luke Cage and Iron Fist, and I just pray, please don't cancel Daredevil. I love it to death. Yeah, post your comments, guys, down below. Let me know what was your favorite moment of season 3. And what's your favorite character arc? What's your favorite episode? Yeah, just let me know. Let's talk everything Daredevil. If you're finding my channel for the first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like if you want, and I'll catch you in the next one.